You've been away from work for a while. Maybe it was a layoff or a family situation, something that required your attention. Maybe a health challenge or a relocation or a sabbatical. And now it's time to update your LinkedIn profile and you come across the career break option and you freeze. What you're really asking yourself is this: will this explain the gap clearly, or will it have recruiters and hiring officials question things and not even contact me for opportunities? I get asked about this quite frequently, and the answer is a lot more nuanced than you might think. I'm Danielle Bradley. I'm a career coach for mid-career professionals, and I help them get hired with strategies that work in today's market. And here's what I want you to understand about the career break feature on LinkedIn. It can work for you, or it can also work against you. It depends on your situation and how strong the rest of your profile is. Today, I'm going to walk you through when a career break can help, when it might draw the wrong kind of attention, and what to do instead so the break does not become the main feature of your profile. Does this sound like something that you're struggling with right now? Let me know in the comments. Here's what most people don't understand about LinkedIn. It's not just a social media platform or a job board. It's a search engine. Recruiters and hiring officials are on the platform every day, and they're actively looking for professionals that may have the experience and the skills that they're looking for to fill certain roles that are perhaps not even posted. So they're not just randomly browsing profiles, they're specifically looking for people that have the exact elements that they're looking for. So the question here isn't just, should I add a career break? Of course you can, but the better question is this: does adding it help a recruiter or hiring official understand my value faster, or does it create some friction or doubt? Does it create more questions than it answers? That's the lens that I recommend that you look through as you make these decisions. Does your profile make it very clear what you're looking for, the value that you bring based on the experience and skills that you have? A career break is no different. Let me start with when this feature makes sense to use. Let me preface this by saying there's no shame in taking a career break. Here's when the feature can help. If you had to take a significant amount of time off, we're talking maybe over a year, 2 years, 3 years. The feature allows you to control the narrative on a break like that. You can name it calmly and professionally, and it can answer that question for you before it becomes a concern. It tends to work really well when there's a clear reason behind it. Things like caregiving, education, relocation, health, a sabbatical, or family responsibilities. These are normal parts of a real life and a real career. The feature exists precisely because so many people go through these things. It also works best when the rest of your profile is really strong and fully optimized for the type of role that you want. More about that in a minute. Let me share when it might not help you and potentially work against you. If your gap is short, then putting in a career break can just draw more attention than it truly deserves. A few months in between roles is really common these days, and formalizing it is just going to put attention on something that recruiters are not even going to worry about. It also doesn't help when the section is kind of empty or vague. And if your profile already looks kind of empty, it doesn't have a lot of intention put behind your headline, your about section, your experience section, then a career break is not really going to do anything for you. And here's one that I see most often. A lot of people will put in a career break rather than focusing on their overall positioning and overall optimizing of their LinkedIn profile. So they add a label, but then they fail to explain the rest of their career, which is so important. Now, if you do decide to use a career break, the wording really matters. You want it to be professional and not over-explained. There's no need for that. Here's an example of what that can look like. Here's an example of a career break and what that can look like on LinkedIn. I just took a screenshot, and this is actually combined with another strategy that I will explain in a minute. But you can see the career break here. It shows a 6-month career break. Very clearly, layoff, position eliminated. This is happening a lot, especially in this market, and hiring officials are understanding of it. Years ago, maybe it was not as accepted, but today it is so common, and having the ability to explain it in this way is perfectly acceptable. And you can show, in this case, sabbatical after previous role was eliminated. So now we're really controlling the narrative. We took 6 months off and then we got into an active job search. So now you see the independent consulting piece. That is one example of something that you can put in the present if you're still job searching. And that allows you to be more visible on the platform and also control the narrative and showcase what you've been doing during that time period. Maybe you've been doing some training, upskilling, volunteering. There's a lot of different elements that you can add here so that you have something in the present on LinkedIn, and then you can see how these two can work really well together. The career break plus what you're up to right now if you are still searching for a new role. Now, let me show you exactly on LinkedIn where you would place this career break if you choose to use it. So you would go into your experience section, click on the plus button, and add a career break. This is the area where you can select the type of career break. It could be a range of different things. In the example that I showed you, it was a layoff, position eliminated. It could also be volunteer work, travel, retirement. Well, I don't think if you're watching this video, this is going to be the choice for you, but there's a lot of different options that basically allow you to control the narrative. And then you can choose if you're currently on the break. Now, if you are job searching, I don't recommend showing that you're currently on a break because LinkedIn will not show your profile very high in recruiter searches. So if you're actively job searching, you would want to have this break in the past, similar to the example that I showed you. And then you get the option to add in the exact timing. Now, whether or not you decide to use a career break, I just want you to know it's a very small portion of your profile. Here's what you really want to focus on. Number one is your headline. That's right under your name. You want it to be focused on the role that you want next and the value that you bring for that role. Number two is your about section. This is the most underutilized section of most of the LinkedIn profiles that I review. There's enough room in there to clearly highlight what you're most known for, the types of results that you bring for the type of role that you want, and a little flavor for what your special sauce is. Number three is your experience section, and there you want to focus on outcomes, not just a list of duties that sound like a job description. And throughout your entire profile, you want to make sure that you include the right skills under your experience section, your about section, and then in the specific skills area on LinkedIn. This is a really important part of optimizing your LinkedIn profile so you can get found by recruiters and hiring officials that are looking for people with your exact skills and experience. These areas are a lot more important than spending a ton of time figuring out what to put on your career break. I have countless clients who are updating their LinkedIn profile and optimizing them the way that I teach, and it's quite the norm for them to get contacted by recruiters and hiring officials in a matter of days. In fact, I have a recent client who wasn't quite sure if LinkedIn was going to work for her, and she was surprised to find out that a hiring manager's boss reached out to her directly on LinkedIn to invite her for an interview for a role that really was not on her radar. She hadn't applied to it, and it was for a large fintech company, and she was able to go and get interviewed for an amazing position with the company. So here's my practical recommendation here. If your break was long and leaving it unexplained would create some confusion or pause, then use the career break strategically. Keep it simple, like the example that I shared. If your gap is short and easy to explain, then it might be easier just not to worry about it. In either case, don't let the career break become the main story of your profile. The main story should always be your experience, the value that you bring. The career break feature is just one tiny little part of your LinkedIn profile if you choose to use it. The bigger question is, does your profile showcase what you truly can bring in terms of results and outcomes, the problems that you solve for the type of role that you want. If you'd like some support with your LinkedIn profile and any other aspect of your job search, I invite you to book a Get Hired strategy call with us. The link is below. And subscribe for more LinkedIn and job search advice specifically for mid-career professionals. And let me know in the comments, have you used the career break on LinkedIn? What did it do for you? And if you're also wondering if you should use the Open to Work banner on LinkedIn, I have an amazing video for you. It's all about whether or not you should use the Open to Work banner on LinkedIn. The link is in the description below. I'll see you in the next video.